But now I don't see those cobbles and curbs. I don't hear the blues anymore.
Rough Trade is giving away a third of the first 3 months of the Rough Trade Club plus new music membership exclusively to 101 Part-Time Jobs listeners. Become a member of Rough Trade Club New Music and you'll receive the Rough Trade Album of the Month straight to your door every month on exclusive vinyl pressing with exclusive bonus material. Club members have received exclusive pressings of albums from Sufjan Stevens, Sprints, The Last Dinner Party, Julie Byrne, and Over Mono, just to name a few, this past year alone. Sign up using the promo code CLUB101POD and you'll get the Rough Trade Album of the Month, English Teacher's excellent debut album, This Could Be Texas, on exclusive Galaxy Gold for a third of the usual price. Here's English Teacher on a recent episode of 101.
How many opportunities do you get to write a debut album and have all of this, sport behind us? I don't know, I really like the idea of holding the bar as being like classic songs.
You only get one shot at a debut.
Don't want the album of the month but still want all the benefits? Sign up to the standard tier using Club 101 Pod and you'll still get the first month free. You'll also get free shipping on all orders, 10% off the bar and on secondhand vinyl in-store, and exclusive access to sold-out Rough Trade events. So don't hang around. Go to roughtrade.com/club and sign up with the code CLUB101POD. That's CLUB101POD and claim money off the album of the month, English Teachers This Could Be Texas, today. This offer's available to UK residents only. Do you play in bands? I did for the longest time. And I wish that I knew that DistroKid was a thing. I don't even think it existed back then. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of your royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming services. When you get DistroKid, you can see a DistroKid bank and withdraw your earnings. You get notified when you've earned royalties and you can withdraw via the app. And you can even check your streaming stats on Spotify and Apple. Get 30% off your first year on DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. 30% off for your first year. That's not bad. We know it's a tough world out there. Why don't you make it easier for yourself? And to get 30% off that free year as an artist, where you get 100% of your royalties and earnings, go to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
Hey there. Did you know Baker's always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower than low prices? And when you download the Baker's app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Baker's today. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The Vietnam War, it's over. Your job's just begun.
A new HBO original limited series.
Welcome to the world of spycraft. Strap in.
From executive producers Park Chan-wook and Robert Downey Jr.
What are you concealing?
Based on the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel by Viet Thanh Nguyen.
What if I told you that I was a communist spy?
How did you become this?
The Sympathizer, streaming April 14th on Max. Subscription required.
All right, you're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs with me, Giles Bidder. It's where I speak to bands and artists about the things they do so they can keep on playing music and being part of their communities. An important thing for Jem from Speed, who I'm going to say it out the top, he is a classically trained flute player. He went to uni to study it. He's just coming off the tail end of teaching it. That is what today's episode is about, and I couldn't be happier. Jem speaks so eloquently about the communities that teaching flute has been to him, as well as going to hardcore shows and being part of Speed. From Sydney, they've just become huge over the last year, one of the world's biggest hardcore bands. who are putting out interesting videos on YouTube about the places they're going to. When you watch those YouTube mini docs, you feel really involved in what they're going through, and it's one of those things that you think, fuck, with all this technology and Google owning everything, this is what it's for us. You know, we get to see this hardcore band travel the world, make friends, and be part of communities globally. That's amazing. That's the spirit I get from Speed. I'm really happy to do this. Cheers for listening. If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe, leave a rating or a review. That stuff helps me massively. Ratings and reviews and subscribers are really the measure of how I can keep this podcast up and how I can keep bringing brilliant guests like Jem and Speed to our ears, get their stories. So if you're able to spend 30 seconds doing that, leaving a review, subscribing, that would be massively appreciated. Thank you. 2000 Trees supports this show. Brilliant independent festival in Cheltenham, just a few hours away from London. Gaslight Anthem are headlining next year. Also playing is Manchester Orchestra, Gouge Away, Teenage Wrist, and loads of other ace bands from indie rock to hardcore. So if you're looking for a festival to go to in the UK, it's Camping, Wednesday through to Saturday, so you get the Sunday off. 2000 Trees is the one. Tickets are the cheapest they'll be right now, and if you order them before the end of the year, then you get a free refund if later on you find out you can't go. Get your tickets now. 2000trees.co.uk. Okay, before we get into this chat, I've got Rebecca from Eka and also Ampolo here. Ampolo is the first all-in-one app connecting a global community of musicians to practice, record and collaborate. And there's some new features coming on there, aren't there, Rebecca? You can start making money as an artist. Other artists can remix your songs. What's going on over there?
So we've heard people say before that the magic of the app is the fact that you're able to upload any music, remove your instrument and play along so you feel part of the song. I mean, there's really no feeling like it when you're playing with one of your favourite songs and you feel like you're part of that band. We have revolutionary tools which allow you to layer your audio and video recordings to share and collaborate with others in your own real-time project. And that's all thanks to our AI music separation.
All right, Ampolo, download it now. Here we go. Gang called Speed on 101 part-time jobs. Here's Jem. 101 part-time jobs. Speed has been so good, and you've been so good in your... Because look, like the way we communicate with each other is social media. I think when social media first came into our lives, I think a lot of people were kind of pushing it away and being like, you know, you don't want to give too much of yourself away personally, you know, or at least I wasn't someone to write about how I truly felt, which is because I was maybe a bit scared of the technology and all that. Now, as time goes on, you know, I will post a photo of my friend and I'll be like, you know, thank you for having my back. Thank you for being there for me and giving me the good times. That's something that I really get out of Speed, is that your vulnerability to talk about that kind of stuff.
Well, thanks for saying that. I think that, honestly, bro, I think like a big part of our experience here is just trying to put on show just how normal we are as human beings. I think the beauty and the of hardcore, and the reason why we're attracted to this space is because it strips everything down. There's no like kind of like fireworks or sparkles or anything. It's just the realness of human beings. You know, it's like plug and play. You get in the pit. The passion is real. The friendships, at least the friendships that I know that I've got from hardcore, are real. The interactions to me seem real. You know, and especially like kind of experiencing other facets of like the music industry. And even just other facets of life, I see such a gap there. You know, I see something that is so missing that every time in my life since I was a kid, when I ventured in any other space, that seems to be the resounding kind of reflection, is that there's something that here that feels superficial that I don't feel when I'm at the show or one of my friends that I know from the show. So that's the thing that keeps pulling me back. And I guess with Speed, like the only mission that we have is just to be the best hardcore band that we can be, and is to promote Australian hardcore culture. And part of our culture is just to be real. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just be real, be authentic. And I appreciate you saying that, because it means that I guess it's communicating to someone across the world that way too.
Totally. And it's funny, that's the way the internet works, is that sometimes you can have a YouTuber or, you know, whoever it is, someone that you really like. I mean, I love watching YouTube skate clips. That's kind of my break from work every day. 5-minute skate clip on Thrasher is perfect for me. And, you know, the openness and the conversations and, you know, the stories from Thrasher and all the rest of it, that's something that I don't often get in real life, or at least apart from a few select people in my life. You know, that kind of honesty is something that you can do online. It's an interesting kind of turn it on its head thing. You know, online can be very real. It can be very, very realistic.
I guess like COVID probably forced us a bit into that space as well, you know, and under the timing of Speed, you know, we started pretty much during like on the burgeoning of COVID, and you know, in the absence of shows, when like the physical setting is like the only setting where hardcore really ever traditionally existed, and really kind of it's the only place that it actually truly exists, actually, just period. But it just forced us into a space where we kind of have to rely on conversation. We have to rely on discourse, which I think is probably the first time ever since in the hardcore's birth that we just have to talk about it. You know what I mean? So I guess it kind of normalized just being more vulnerable and a bit more normalized, just kind of talking more shit.
And connection. That's what music's about, isn't it?
Yeah. That's cheesy or whatever it might sound. I fully believe it. It is about the realness of the human connection, and that's why I'm here, to be honest.
Big time. If we believe it in this much, if we do this, if we dedicate this much of our lives to it, we got to say it how it is. You know, what were you like? What was your setup? You know, when Speed started, you've been playing in bands before Sydney. What was your life like? Kind of, what was your day to day? What were the big things in your life that you were doing?
I mean, I'm really lucky. I got like just the best friends in the world that I have here in Sydney. All my family's from here, born and bred. And really just like a day-to-day here is just like hanging out with my girl. We live here, hanging out with my friends, hanging out with my brother, going to shows here, hardcore shows, obviously. Before Speed, I was in a band for 10 or so years. We started when I was 15. It was called Endless Heights. And those were my high school friends as well. Some of my best friends are still today. And after that, like the day that we kind of talked about, you know, how we were going to settle things up was the day that my mind got onto starting Speed. And to be honest, like Speed was meant to be the band that was like where my life was slowing down. Like I'd toured for like 10 years or so already, and like gone around the world and done all these things. And I was just really satisfied, bro. We weren't like a massive band or anything, but like I made great friendships, experienced so many awesome, amazing things. I was like so happy. But music is such a huge part of my life. I never wanted that to go away. And also like I knew that there were some things on my bucket list I hadn't ticked yet. And one of those things was just like singing in a hardcore band and also doing a hardcore band with my brother, like my little brother. So that's how Speed was birthed essentially. And then around that as well, like I guess I'm a musician, like through and through, because like I was teaching music as well, for like the last 14 years.
Right. What instrument?
The classical flute.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I'm actually like next week is my last week of doing that. Been doing that since 2010. Yeah, 2011. Yeah. And I had a degree in that from the music school here, and I don't know. I just been teaching it. Like it was, luckily for me, it was like a kind of thing that I love music, but I think that like I just found like I picked up an instrument. It was like a vehicle for me just to express. It wasn't necessarily like I'm super, super, super passionate about flute and like woodwind. I think it was just the tool that I was just given. So like it was a vehicle for me just to express myself, to like kind of feel passion in a different way. And then after I graduated like university, it was the vehicle that like led me to find teaching, you know, and like I love working with kids. I love like being a mentor to kids too. So super lucky that I found that. And it was also a job that kind of fit with my life when I was touring in that, you know, because I could just do it in my own time. I could like work out my schedule and that. And so, yeah, that's pretty much my life. And then I guess aside from that, I love to eat food, and I like to lift weights.
Teaching classical flute. That is awesome. I mean, the first thing is that, you know, what a juxtaposition between that and hardcore. And then my second thought is, well, you know, these are both, like we said earlier, these are both transportations of communication. I can see those parallels between harsh, visceral, very tangible music that moves you and sweeping orchestral flutes, you know, because that is also incredibly moving. It's like tectonically emotional.
It honestly, man, it is. Yes, it really is. And it's funny that you say that, because the flute in my life and that part of my life is very different to hardcore, obviously. But in terms of my relationship with it and the way that I interact with both of those worlds, it's like hugely different. I love, bro, that you said that it's two forms of communication, because that's really how that's how I address it in my mind, how I kind of make sense of it, is that I love to talk shit. I love to hang out. I love to talk with people. I love to kick it. You know, the way I'm wired is I love to just be around people and talk, you know? And so with music, with flute, you know, like, as I said, I found that to be a vehicle for me to actually work with kids. And that was me to like communicate, I guess, my influence, you know, through that medium. Flute just is the vehicle that I just used to do that. I just wound up doing it and never quit. Well, with hardcore, it's another vehicle for me to do that too. But I will say, bro, that like, I kind of really struggled with the flute towards the end of it. Like, I was doing it because when I finished high school, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And like, I never had, I'm fully Asian through and through, but my parents were like never Asian parents that pushed me, you know, like they were really open-minded, quite like westernized Asians, I would say, you know, very open-minded and just chill with me. They were just like, do what you love, man. Like, just find what you want to do and just find what you love in life and just do that. And I was like, fuck, I don't know what I like other than music, but I can't fucking go to a uni and like, do a degree in like hardcore music or something, you know what I mean? So I thought, oh, well, this is like something I do, and it is music, and maybe I'll just like grow my musical mind in a certain way. And anyways, long story short, by the end of it, like have you seen the movie Whiplash?
Yeah.
Okay, so like going to uni for me was like doing Whiplash, man. It was that experience. It fucking burnt me, bro. It burnt me so bad, and like I was going through this mental. This huge like wrestle in my mind of like feeling so much anxiety at uni, feeling so much performance anxiety, practicing 5 hours a day every day, feeling so much pressure to play to like these people who were like so fancy and so proper, and like really, bro, like I didn't fit in at uni at all. I fully did not fit in. I was such an outsider. I did not level with like almost anyone there. Everyone must have thought I was such a freak because like I just wasn't. I like playing flute, but I just wasn't like. I wasn't a flute person. I wasn't that classical music. Like all their fucking parents were in orchestras. Like they're playing golden flutes. They're fucking like mum owned or whatever. Like they're like, you know what I mean. They could listen to some symphony playing on the radio and just not only identify what movement it was by which composer, but which like orchestra was playing it. I was like, bro, I can barely even like. I don't even know, man. You know what I mean?
You must have been at a certain level to have gone to that school, to get onto that course.
I got in. I know it's the weird thing. I got in, but like, I think I think I'm just wired where like, okay. The funny thing was that, bro, like I got in, but this is a really weird story. I got accepted to the course.
This is the place.
I got accepted to the course, okay, in university, and I didn't even know if I even wanted to do it, right? But my teachers at the time just were like, you should just try it, just do it. You should do it. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just do an audition, whatever. I got in, got accepted, and by the time I got in, I was like, actually, fuck yeah, I want to do it. Actually, like it's actually kind of sick. Like I guess I had a change of heart. Mind you, I was like 17, and. When I got in, and then they kind of reversed it, and they're like, actually, sorry, no, like we fucked up the enrollments. We let too many people in. You're not in for the flute course. You're actually just in for the general course. You know what I mean? And the fact that they told me that I wasn't in, like on reflection now, like so many years later, I don't think I could hack the fact that they said like I wasn't good enough. And at the time, I didn't realize this, but really for me, like I was like pushing so hard to try and prove myself to them because I couldn't handle the fact that they were like, you ain't good enough to do this. And I was like, nah, I am, fuck you. And so I just like wrecked myself trying to do it. Anyways, long story short, like to give you an idea, bro, like there's like one orchestra, like maybe 4 orchestras in the whole country. And there's like 3 flute players in each orchestra. We're talking like 12 flute players, 12 jobs. If you get that job, bro, you're like playing that job. You're not going to leave. You know what I mean? That's your salary, right? So think about how many people play flute in the country. Like there's a shitload, right? There's heaps of them. Okay, like it's so hard to get a job. It's why it's like Whiplash. It's like trying to become like Olympic athlete, you know what I mean, or something like that. Get into the Olympics. I didn't know this before. I had no idea. I just thought. I also went to like a school where I was like one of 4 flute players. So I just thought like I was living in my own world. I was like, oh, I'm pretty good. Like, obviously, because there's no one to compare to. But anyways, I realized by the end of it, I was like, I don't actually have the passion to take me to the level I need to be at to do this. And at the same time as well, I was like, that's also when touring started picking up. And like, to go back to what I was wrestling in my mind about, was like killing myself over doing this instrument, which was so technical, and having performance anxiety to play in front of like maybe 5 or 10 people who were just like critiquing me, who were just like fancy fucking like posh people who I shouldn't even give a fuck about. You know what I'm saying? But then I would go and play like a hardcore show on the weekend to like 150 kids. And like the band that my best friends who I'm playing in a band with don't even know what a time signature is. Like they're fully self-taught. Like they don't even know like, you know, they don't even know any kind of like musical jargon. And we're making so many mistakes the whole time, but it's real. And like, and I'm sharing such an insane sense of like passion and connection with all these people. Like that's so much more tangible than just playing classical music to like a room of 10 people who I don't even give a fuck about. You know what I'm saying? And I just reflected on that, and I was like, how is this real? Like, how's the disconnect here where you've got this thing like hardcore where I don't make any money out of it? There's no money in it. There's no like real trajectory out of it. There's this other thing here, which is like, there's a degree for it. There's just like hundreds and hundreds of years of like, you know, history and education and academics. Like it's an academic subject too. Like there's so much behind that. How does that, how do I exist in these two worlds?
And money. That career.
Yeah, but I love this so much more, you know, and at the time I didn't really understand it, but like, I didn't know how to make sense of it, but I knew in my heart that like, this isn't for me. And that's why I say that I found teaching out of it. I'm just lucky that I found that as a vehicle to love teaching. But for music, like I realized like what I really love in music is the realness of it. It's the human connection. It's that tangible, raw realness. You don't have to fucking play like so technically flawless to connect with people, to engage with people, to kind of incite like passion and feeling and real emotion. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't come down to that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, especially, we're literally comparing like the most tribal like genre in the world, like hardcore punk, to like the most like elite kind of thing. And I would fucking, you know, like to me, it's just all about this.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
What a lesson to learn, you know, at such a young age, and for you to really have to face that. You know, I think a lot of people, look, I mean, I think we should start high school at age like 30, you know, because we don't give enough time for ourselves to learn. You know, there is this kind of feeling where, you know, by the age you're early 20s, you should know everything, or you should kind of have your feet fully on the ground. Realistically, I don't think people have that until way later in life. So it strikes me that you had this very serious, you know, this tension, this conflict internally of being like, okay, these are two things that, this thing that I really want to try and do, and you know, I've got a desire to prove myself as a flute player, whilst also having this world that's so real. I mean, what an incredible clash. I mean, talking about personal growth, you must have, you know, learned something about your stuff, learned a lot about yourself there.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, I think as well, you know, you're always a student. Like I mean, it's just the way the society is structured that you get out of high school and then you may be expected to be an adult. You're just launched into the world, but really, like, I'm learning every single day. I was talking to one of my students today, like, because my last lesson with her is next week, and they're going on to other teachers, and I'm helping them find a new teacher. And she was kind of like bugging about, like, you know, trying them out. And I told them, I was like, I had the same conversation with her. I was like, I'm still a student now, and I know that from my experience that, like, if you just learn from one person you're only getting one perspective. Like, treat this as like opening up your mind and getting more philosophy from someone else, you know. That's off tangent, but the point was that, like, I'm always learning. You're always learning. You're always trying. If your point is to grow, at least.
That's exactly what this conversation is about for me, and how it's different perspectives. And I've got a poster above our toilet here that it's a Bill Nye quote. It just says, you know, you'll learn everything from anyone you ever meet. You know, you'll always meet someone who knows something that you don't. And that is a very, especially now where like there's just so much hate and pain, and like, you know, really people are fighting against each other all the time, to have that kind of empathy and understanding that we've all got a lot to learn. I mean, that's an important part of this conversation that I'm doing here.
100%.
You know?
I 100% am with you on that. I feel very strongly about that too.
So your last lesson is next week. Like right now, you're winding down. You're telling your students. You're showing them, you know, new teachers. What are the emotions that you're feeling right now? What are you going through currently with that?
Well, it's a bit to explain that a little bit further. I've slowly been culling back my students from the start of the year. Pretty much, man. Like when. At the start of the year, I like started with 70 students, and like I was teaching at multiple schools. I would teach at like 2 schools, and I'd also have students that would come to my studio, you know, and learn with me after school hours. And like at the end of September last year in 2022, we at Speed already knew what we were doing up to September 2023, and like we had booked it. Like when we started Speed, we were like, we're never going to be full time. This is going to be a chill band. This is going to be the band we're slowing down, where we're like, you know, just moving on to our next phase of lives. And anyway, so for this year, we were like, okay, like we'll go away for 2 weeks at a time. You know, the longest tour Speed's done so far has just been 2 weeks. And I was like, sick, I can do this. I can work in between, like whatever, it's fine. And literally like the first tour, we did Turnstile with 4 shows with Turnstile. And then from there, we went straight to go to like Bangkok. And I remember landing in Bangkok. This is like literally like, I don't know, March 1 or February, last day of February or something. And I remember landing, I was just like, holy fuck, I have to quit my job. Like, this is just way too fucking much. Like, it was just way too intense. It wasn't even just from touring. It was like from everything else with like, because we're so involved with like the band and just like fucking like, you know, just planning and everything. Like, it was just so overwhelming that I already knew that. So I was like pulling back from all my schools and whatever. And pretty much like for the last, I don't know, maybe 4 months, I've only had like 8 students. Whereas at the start of the year I had 70, you know, so I pull back of everything. So now, like, I've already kind of like shifted to this new mode, and in the last kind of like the last few months for us, pretty much like since July, when we got back from Europe and before we went to Sound and Fury this year, just pretty much been focusing on that, on writing and recording our album. And
yeah, awesome. And
that's coming to a head because we're going to the studio next week to do that. And honestly, it's a weird thing because like as my mind has been freed up, like it was fucking crazy kind of like for a while because I was teaching like 50 hours a week or something whilst touring and doing everything for the band and like and managing 70 students whilst like, you know, doing this. It was like I was burnt for a minute. Like, it was pretty crazy. And now I've just had a chance to just kind of breathe and just like pat my cat, you know, and like hang out with my girl and like, you know, just go and get some sushi and fucking just sit there for a minute and just fucking drink the tea without having to rush off. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's been good.
Yeah.
Good,
you need that.
100%. You need that. The balance was like, yeah. And the other thing I will be real on is that like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever experienced in my whole life. And I am so aware that it's like so many people in the whole world would love to have this kind of experience, man. But it's been actually really fucking overwhelming as well. Like trying to just reckon with it all. And then it goes into a bit of a cycle sometimes where I'm like, I feel stressed about something and I'm like, holy fuck. Like, and then I feel guilty about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, why do I feel like kind of like overworked or something, overwhelmed? Like I should be enjoying every moment. So I think reflecting on those moments throughout the year was like, okay, I need to like fucking, as I said, quit my job and then like just find some balance because I'm also super aware that this is finite. Like, you know, bands have a timeline and this is an amazing thing that has happened is a gift. I see it as, and I fucking want to reap it and savor it for all it's worth while I'm living it right now. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much where I've been trying to. That's pretty much where I've been trying to like figure my brain and figure my life out for the last little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we're like humans, like we're habitual creatures, right? We like our routines. And when something like magical and an amazing opportunity comes, you have to at some point kind of normalize it, right? I mean, at some point, Dave Grohl normalized being a rock star, you know, and that's like kind of funny because you know, I often feel like sometimes in my life when good things have been happening, I've been so elated that my brain has just gone poof, and I can't even think about replying to an email. I don't know how to string a few words together. So kind of normalizing and getting into that routine of it, is that part of what you know, taking that time is going to be able to do, is giving yourself the headspace to be able to acknowledge, respect the situation, see it, and like put your best foot forward, be organized, have a strategy, do things the way you want to do it. Is that all part of it for you?
I think so. I mean, generally, yeah. Like, I don't really know if there can be much of a routine or like too much like set in stone structure for this kind of thing, because kind of like similar to how we started, like it's been so unprecedented. Like, I guess kind of the experience we've had has happened so quickly. Like, it's like Speed started at the very end of 2019. COVID in Australia went for like almost 3 years. So if you take that away, like we've only really been a band for like a year or a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? And like we kind of had our like quote unquote like our come up. Like a big part of it was during COVID. Like you were saying, you were watching the videos, and then like I assume it's probably maybe We See You, and we released that in 2021 in COVID. Like that was like doing its thing online. Like we were just sitting at home. We could just see it through our screen.
Yeah.
6 months later, we leave my door. Like I go outside and like I see people for the first time. Then I'm like, holy fuck, I'm smacked with reality. Like, you know, people out on the street and like in Sydney who aren't even hardcore kids, like everywhere, just like hollering at us and shit. Like everywhere we go, and it's like life was not like this a year ago. Life was not like this when like we could roam before this. You know what I'm saying? So that I think it's like, and the things like that have kind of been happening. Like not exactly that. Right? I just mean there's been just crazy things that have like unexpected things that have just been happening over and over and over and over again. And it's just like I think it's just about, I just want to be as equipped as possible, like mentally and spiritually, to like be able to thrive in these moments and just like, and deliver, you know. I don't want to crumble under it. And I think everything has been really, really good so far. And we're really blessed, man, because like Speed, we're really just friends that are doing this. We're just brothers that are doing this. So, and then we were friends and brothers before we even started the band, which in my opinion is the only way that you can really do a band, is to make art with people that you love, you know. So we're really like close, and we talk about everything, we work through everything together, and just like we're on the ride together, you know, or through all the good stuff and all the hard stuff. So yeah.
I believe in you, and I believe you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, because that's like having conversations like this is so sick. You know, the band has let me do this. I can come fucking sit down with you. You're in UK, I'm here. We're talking kind of like leveling on the same thing, but we don't even know each other. It's just because of fucking the art, you know? Yeah, man. And there's something very powerful in meeting people and speaking to people who were strangers, and then within a few moments are no longer strangers. That's a big part. That's one of my favorite things ever. That's hardcore. That's why I get. That is hardcore. Hey, Jem, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I've got one more question, if that's cool. You know, I started off at the beginning. I mentioned something like, you know, we learn a lot in life by our mistakes and by trying things and realizing they're the wrong thing, or actually doing things and be like fucking, you know, having the kind of courage to hold your hands up and be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You know, whatever it is. I mean, for me, that comes as like the funny things. In a lot of jobs that I've worked, I've messed up, or I've broken someone's stuff, or I've sent the email to the wrong person. I'm talking like innocent stuff. When I say that, you know, I love hearing stories from other people about that kind of stuff. Do you have anything in mind on that kind of level, in that kind of frame? That, you know, a kind of anecdote that you'd laugh about with your mates or your partner or your family? The first job I ever had was at a Chinese restaurant, and I was waitering at a Chinese restaurant. And this is, I mean, there's not a. I think that okay, I'm gonna tie this back in a roundabout way. Okay, my parents are so, as I said, they're so westernized. I've been growing up to like essentially for the first half of my life, I thought I was a white person. And my friends would call me a banana, you know what I mean? Yellow on the outside, white on the inside. You know? And so much of the fact when I got this Chinese job, when I got this job at a Chinese restaurant, I was the only one there that couldn't speak Cantonese. And everyone else there was like mad fob, like fully fucking, like some of them barely even spoke English. And anyways, might not even be funny. But it's funny to me at least. I was at I remember one day we were there and the chef was like, "Hey, can you get the meal? Get the meal. And I was like trying to do my best. I was under pressure every time, like my first job, you know, I try not to fuck it up or whatever. And I also felt like the odd one out too, because I was like the Asian kid there that just could not speak. So I was like, "Oh, meal, get the meal. Okay." So like the kitchen was on one side and the bar was on the completely other side of the restaurant. So I ran past back through all the tables and everything, got to the bar, and I'm there. I'm like, "Meal? What's meal? Like, where's the meal here? Where's the meal?" I'm looking everything for something that's called meal. I was like, "No." Ran back. I was like, "Sorry, bro. Like, what is that? Meal? I want the meal. Can you get me the meal?" And I was like, "Meal? What the fuck is meal?" And I'm just looking and I'm stressed and I'm missing orders and like people are waiting for shit and they keep ringing the bell. Like, and I'm like, fuck, I'm getting distracted with this meal thing. I finally go to my boss, which I didn't want to ask her for help for. Like, have to fucking trouble her. And I'm like, "Hey, like," and I just called her auntie. I was like, "Auntie, like, what is meal? Like the chef wants the meal. Like, what the fuck is meal?" And she went to him and he came back and he was like, "It's milk. He wants the milk. Like, he just wants milk." But his accent was just like, you know, very Hongkonese accent. So I was like, "Oh." Yeah. And anyway, so I guess now, so many years later in life, I've been teaching myself Cantonese. Well, I started at least like about 4 years ago. So that's not really a mistake or anything, but
I love that because that's relatable. Like everyone has had that thing at work where they're like, "I don't really know what you're talking about, but also I don't want to like make myself look like an idiot. So fuck, you know, you have to." Mate, I love that. That's really funny.
Yeah, and just I don't know. I'm like, I should really be able to understand you, man. Like, you know, you just look like my dad, bro. You know what I mean? Like, why can't I understand this?
How are you getting along with the Cantonese? Are you doing it on Duolingo?
They don't have Cantonese on Duolingo, bro. Like the world and unfortunately, like the Chinese world is barring Cantonese. Like it's just they're trying to just push Mandarin. You know, it's like it's a political thing. But no, I've just been self-taught, just hitting the books and and speaking and embarrassing myself at every Chinese restaurant. Yeah, literally.
That is the way you learn.
It is, and I'm just stubborn enough to go and not give a fuck and just speak like a weirdo.
Mate, that is my approach to life.
Word. I respect that.
Hey, thank you so much, Jem. I appreciate the time. This is exactly your stories there. It's exactly why I do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
So there he was, Jem from Speed. What a nice guy. I really enjoyed those stories. The thing that really sticks out to me now is those two channels, the teaching flute and being able to have this platform to give advice and to nurture kids and people younger than us, share that knowledge in the same way we do our hardcore show in our hardcore communities, where we go to something, we're part of it, and we can share knowledge, we share friendships over years, we learn from each other. Jem really seems to have that down. You know, he's eloquent about it. It's really great hearing him speak. Really interesting to hear those stories. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, if you're able to leave a review or rate it, that would be hugely appreciated. Please subscribe. Just takes a moment to click that button and means a lot to me and the podcast. And tomorrow we'll have Benny from the Gaslight Anthem. Next week, we've got Jacob from Health, which is awesome, and lots more to come. So I'll see you then. Cheers.
Friday,
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.